I did the dishes. I just haven't emptied the dishwasher yet. But good morning. I am still debating if I want to go to the gym or the fitness center as I'm drinking my pre-workout. But it's kind of up in the air because it is arm day, so I don't need that much equipment, but I want to do the easy curl bar a lot, and there's a lot of cool things you can do with the easy curl that they don't have at the gym, but you don't need a lot of weights to do a pretty good arm pump.
Is the pump.
So as I drink my pre-workout, and I realize that I get better results from my pre-workout if yes, this is my cabinet door that you're seeing, because like I said, good angles without the tripod. But I feel as though I get more in the zone if I drink it and then go to the gym as opposed to like sipping on it while going to the gym. And I'm growing my beard out a little bit because I have an audition and I'm supposed to play a dad. Don't make that joke. I'm watching all of you. But anyway, it's going to be arm day. I know it's going to be a sick pump, and I got to get a good pump because my mom bought me this shirt a little bit ago, and it's actually a few years ago, and it's actually starting to get tighter on me now because and I'm just like feeling really good in it. So I also got a shirt from work yesterday that's a 2XL because we were dealing with mulch and a bunch of mulch juice spilled on my head. And they gave me a 2XL shirt, and I said to my coworker, it just gives me inspiration to get even bigger and more jacked. So today's arm day, and I'm gonna have a lot of fun because arm day is a great day. Still gonna get that cardio in, hard cardio today, whether I'm gonna go for runs on the treadmill or use the step mill. I wanted to try that Jacob's ladder thing they have there, but my luck, I'm gonna fall and hurt myself. So maybe I'll try it one day, just not today, or maybe I will try it today. But anyway, let's get to the gym. I don't know if I'm gonna do a full recording of it or if I'm gonna do more like the short and then edit the short into this, but we'll figure that out. Depends on how busy the gym is, because that's been something I've been considering a lot. But anyway, like I said, that also has to do with whether I go to a fitness center or gym. So let me drink this, and by the time I'm done drinking the pre-workout, we will know where I go. But anyways, I'll catch you guys when I get there. Red Cow Arcade. Yes, I wanted to talk about a random podcast that I am actually a really big fan of, and I became a fan of them relatively recently. Now, Red Cow Arcade, who are they? What are they? Well, it's two dudes, right? Two dudes just kind of shooting the smeg with each other, and they're talking about nerdy stuff that I love to hear about, stuff that kind of isn't really all that stressful. So it's kind of calming, you have your real world issues to deal with because obviously you still got to deal with all of that. You have the reality of the world happening around you at all times. But what I like about Red Cow Arcade is they just kind of talk about nerdy stuff, and that's just my thing. That's what I like to relax to. I mean, I also like to relax to, scary stories and things like that. But to have a podcast that just talks about, in a very chill and laid back way, the stuff that I find interesting, like the cult and very niche stuff that I like, that is a lot of fun. They talk about trauma, their movies. They recently did a kind of documentary about Cannibal the Musical, which is an awesome movie if you haven't seen it. Trey Parker and Matt Stone's very, very early work. And they just sometimes will do videos about like, oh yeah, I picked up a bunch of VHS tapes and here they are. And it's just really awesome to watch. Just be like, oh hey, that'd be a cool VHS to have. Now, I'm not like a big VHS collector or anything like that. If I'm going to collect VHS, it's going to be movies I actually genuinely want to own, not just blind buys or anything like that. I mean, I have a VHS of The Lost Boys, which is my favorite movie, and I'm looking for a VHS of The Crow, and I also want a Starship Troopers VHS. I actually saw a movie CD for that available. I might grab that because, as everyone knows, Starship Troopers is my favorite thing. But outside of things like that, though, they also talk about like YouTubers that I genuinely enjoy. Like a lot of this is like niche cult content. Like I said, they talk a lot about Cinemassacre, and Cinemassacre is my favorite YouTube channel of all time. I love the Angry Video Game Nerd. I know a lot of people are middle of the road when it comes to his newer stuff, but I get just as excited seeing a new AVGN video as I did when I was a kid. So them talking about AVGN and and the Nostalgia Critic, things like that, is a lot of fun to listen to. And like I said, this is just stuff that is really relaxing and really fun to watch and listen to because it's just two dudes having fun talking to each other. And they'll sometimes talk about more real stuff. Obviously, they talked to this Army veteran, I forget the gentleman's name, and he would like edit videos while on base or something like that. And there was one night he was talking about how he fixed a computer situation and it saved all these people's lives. And I was like, wow, that is actually really inspiring. So yeah, Red Cow Arcade. If you haven't seen them yet, check them out. It's worth it.
So now I am back from the gym and I still have not yet made my post-workout shake because I just want to get this conversation taken care of. Now, a couple of my friends should be coming over a little bit later, which I'm happy to see. Haven't seen them in a while. And I don't know if Matt is going to be coming by or not. He hasn't texted me whether or not he's going to be showing up. Hopefully he does. If not, no big deal. I'll just have to travel to LA to see him if I ever go to LA, if it calms down. But anyway.
Oh, you're so money and you don't even know it.
That's what I got some healthy snacks for if my friends come over.
Some good fucking food.
So that should be fun. And my friend Will said he's probably gonna bring a Steam Deck. Right now the apartment is empty. It's just myself and Jirki. She's in the other room though. So hopefully we're going to be able to hang out, play some Jackbox or Jack in the Box. I don't know what the game's called. I know Jack in the Box is a grocery or a restaurant chain that I keep seeing ads for, even though there's none anywhere near us. Don't know why we get those ads. But what I do know is that I'm excited to hang out with people, and if not today, another day, and today can just be a day of true rest. So, outside of obviously the gym session we just had. But anyway, right now, I'm gonna drink my post-workout shake. I did have a protein bar on the way home, so I did get a little bit of protein already, but you know, tradition is tradition. I need that shake. But anyway, gonna drink that, lay down for a little bit, just relax, see what's going down, and see if Jirki will lay on top of me as I'm trying to get some rest, because she probably will. I'll catch you guys later tonight. Peace. Or maybe I might do something else. Who knows? We shall see whether or not they are coming over. If they're not coming over, I might go out and just see what's on the town. Probably. Maybe. I don't know. I really just want to finish Immortals of Avium. Anyways, peace out. So, just as a side little thing, I'm making my protein shake now because I think it's delicious. And I do highly recommend this flavor. All my supplements and health snacks in there, by the way. MRE Light, Primetime Red Velvet. I think it's an awesome flavor.
Some good fucking food.
Drink it often. And also, things I got for other healthy snacks is powdered peanut butter, which the reason I bought the small container is because I was just in a pinch and I really wanted the bigger one, but I was at a grocery store that didn't have the big Walmart jug, because I bought this on clearance, and like I said, I bought it on clearance, but it ultimately tastes like absolutely nothing. It doesn't matter! I mean, it works, it does its thing, but whenever I make my rice cakes with powdered peanut butter, this is the saving grace of it. So that's why I share that. But anyway, I have a post-workout protein shake to make. So if you need a good jelly with 0 sugar, Skinny Girl is your best bet. Wild Harvest peanut butter protein, or you can get the Great Value one that's that big container for only $10. And if you can find this on clearance, definitely get it. But like I said, it ultimately tastes like nothing, even when it's mixed up. But it is still good for you, and it does satisfy hunger cravings, so I would recommend that. Anyways, let me get to drinking my shake. So I want to have kind of a real conversation tonight, and that conversation is about the difference between forgiveness and revenge. And that's obvious, right? But a lot of the times it feels like we as a people strive more for revenge against someone who did us wrong as opposed to forgiveness. Now, keep in mind, if someone does you wrong, a punishment of some type needs to happen. So that way the person who did you wrong knows not to do that again. I mean, sometimes the easy answer is to just cut them off and then move on, right? Sometimes that's easier said than done. Sometimes we have relationships that we just feel so connected to, that's hard to break out of, you know? But especially being someone who follows Christ and being with other people who follow Christ, the one thing that he taught us is forgiveness. And here's the thing, the huge difference between like forgiveness and revenge. I mean, like I said, the things are obvious, but just because you forgive someone for doing you wrong doesn't mean you have to accept them back in your life at all. It means, hey, you hurt me, I'm upset, I forgive you and I love you for what you did, but I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. And that's how much that person hurt you. And you know what? If you ask me, I believe that's okay. Because sometimes it is just better to cut it off, because building trust is the hardest thing you can do. And then rebuilding trust is even harder. Now, how does one rebuild trust with someone else? A lot of it comes from action. Is like, because here's the thing, if someone does something wrong or someone has bad habits are hard to break. We have to remember that if there's someone or something or what have you, they're doing something wrong, right? And they continue to do this wrong thing. And here's the thing, we can absolutely love this person and we can forgive them for all their wrongdoing, but unless they're willing and actively showing that they are trying to improve themselves, sometimes the best option is to break it off. But we also have to remember that if they truly want to be better, that's going to take time for them to improve themselves as they grow. Nothing just happens overnight. I mean, small steps can happen, and that's kind of the thing. It's like small steps lead the way, and maybe, just maybe, you're the person who can make sure, like, hey, you just refumbled, let's get you back on the bounce and keep you moving. Like, especially when it comes to filmmaking, check this out. Like, I forgive other filmmakers for not making Poultrygeist, but it's going to take them small steps in order for them to rebuild the trust of not making that movie. But outside of that, in more the real world, we have to remember that we are all God's children, and every day, every single day we do him wrong. I mean, we live in a fallen world after all. So when you know someone who makes a mistake, when you know someone who is doing you wrong, sometimes the option is to cut them off and move on. But the best option, and if it's at all possible, and sometimes it just doesn't work out, is to help that one person improve themselves. And like I said, that is so much easier said than done. But we also live in a society to where if someone does something wrong, people don't want to forgive that person. They want to see that person not punished, but it's like they want revenge on that person. Because a punishment means, here, we're putting you in timeout, we're giving you a spanking, or giving you a finger wag and a scolding. And then once they did their time, once they served their punishment genuinely, then we bring it back in. Of course, there's caveats, like if someone murdered another person, or they committed a heinous act on another person as well, lock them up as they should be. And then, like I said, as Christians, and I can't say unfortunately, because like I said, we all do God wrong every day, but as Christians, we still forgive that person for all transgressions that they have done to the whole. Doesn't mean they don't need to be punished for it, but we have to remember, are we actively seeking punishment, or are we seeking revenge? Because these are two entirely different things. And like I said, someone says something wrong on the internet, and all of a sudden, people are going after that person, and more often than not, it's like they don't even get a second chance. I remember in Jonah VeggieTales movie, God is the God of second chances, and that's something Christians especially need to remember, is that while it is hard to forgive those who have harmed us, we still have to do it. And if that person who did the wrong thing is showing that they're willing to improve themselves, then we can bring them back in. That is so much easier said than done. I struggle with that too. There are people who've wronged me that I would never let back in my life. Period. It stops there. Here's the thing, I still forgive them for the wrong that they've done me. Doesn't mean I'm letting them back in. And I know I've wronged people and they've cut me off. They do not need to let me back in either. And I'm okay with that. Does it suck? Of course it does. But I'm the one who did the wrong thing. I'm the one who needs to rebuild that trust. And if they would rather have me cut off from them, then allow me to show and prove that I'm working to be better, that's fine. Because like I said, I've cut people off too. And sometimes you cut people off because you're seeing it's like, okay, you have no signs of improving. You're not putting in the effort. Because ultimately, if the person who needs to improve doesn't want to, then they're never going to. And that is the most heartbreaking thing of it, isn't it? And no, I'm not gonna, in this little segment, I'm not gonna cut little goofy memes or anything like that into this, because this is something that I truly believe we need to talk, because I was talking about it with my roommate a little bit earlier, is that people don't want, it feels like just nowadays, people don't want punishment, they don't want discipline. They want revenge when people do something wrong or just say something stupid. And that's really not a world I want to live in. Of course, like I said, person commits a heinous crime, they need to be locked up. Be locked up, throw away the key. I'm actually very anti-death penalty, so I'll because if there's 1%, if there's a 0.00000000001% chance of that person being innocent, I cannot push forward with the death penalty. I am so anti-death penalty because putting the person in prison, like Thomas Sowell said, one of my favorite philosophers, there are no solutions, only compromises, and that's the compromise. I would rather that person be in prison, an innocent person be in prison, than him being put on death row. Because at least while they're in jail, maybe something comes up like, oh smack, we screwed up badly. We screwed up really badly. Of course, that person can never get those years of their life back, but like I said, fallen world, no solutions, only trade-offs. And still, even if they are guilty of that crime, God does call us to forgive. And my goodness, is it hard sometimes? It is hard sometimes. Like I said, we are a fallen world. We are confused people, my friends. And it's going to be harder than we think. And that's why Jesus Christ was the only perfect person to walk this earth. And that's why only God's law is the just law. Because we're fallen. And like I said, forgiveness is so much harder than we would like to believe. And then we have to think about this to ourselves. Do we, like when we say, I forgive you to another person, are we truly forgiving them, or are we just saying that because Christ calls us to? Or do we still hope for revenge against that person? It's even something now I'm even thinking about. Have I truly forgiven the people that have done me wrong? Or do I still, somewhere in me, wish for revenge? Like I said, it's easier said than done. Stuff that I have to think about, stuff that everyone else needs to think about. But as long as there's no space bugs trying to bomb us, I think we should be fine in the end. I'm trying to lighten the mood here. But I believe that everyone needs to kind of just sit down and think, do I want punishment and discipline to the people who are doing wrong, to the people who have done me wrong, or do I want revenge against them? The answer might surprise you. Anyway, that was a serious talk for today, but don't worry, more fun talks are coming. Just today, this was just something on my mind and I needed to talk about it. And I think it is something good to just reflect on. And I hope you guys do too. Anyways, have a good night, my friends. Stay safe. Love you all. And good night.